After understanding programming cycles, this time we'll focus on the third cycle, which is what we call the algorithm development. So if we will discuss about algorithm development in programming cycle, of course, we need to discuss what is an algorithm. Algorithm is actually a step-by-step problem-solving procedure. Next, it's a finite sequence of steps for solving a logical or mathematical problem. And lastly, a specific set of well-defined, simple mathematical and logical procedures that can be followed to solve a problem in a finite number of steps. Please take note that if we will talk about algorithm, we are talking about a step-by-step procedure in solving a specific problem. This time, after understanding the definition of algorithm, let's try discussing about the guide to a good algorithm. First, we need to specify each step or instruction exactly. So it should be concise. Wala na siya kanang tuyok-tuyok. Dapat directly. Next, there must be a finite number of steps. Again, it should be finite. It shouldn't be infinite. Okay? Kung mag-infinite na siya, magsige na siya loop. So wala siya kahumanan. Third, there must be an output. So please take note, if you a guide to a good algorithm, one of those, there should be an output. Okay? So sa tanang gibuhat ninyo, make sure na ang inyong solution kay naagi output. So basically, if we will talk about algorithm, there are two most commonly used algorithms. First is what we call pseudocodes. If we will talk about pseudocodes, pseudocodes is a generic way of describing an algorithm without the use of any specific programming syntax. So it means na it still use a finite steps or a finite step-by-step procedure on how to solve a specific problem. However, it is not using any specific programming syntax yet. That's for pseudocode. And also, models and resembles real programming code. So for example, a good example for pseudocode is just like this. While not at end of list, compare adjacent element, switch them as long as they use a English language in determining or creating a finite step-by-step procedure on how to solve a specific problem. Next is what we call flowchart. This is the things that you need to understand in TLE 9. Make sure that you understood all the logic formulation so that if we will insert codes to it, dili na mo maglibog. Okay, if we will talk about flowchart, flowchart is a chart that contains symbols referring to computer operations describing how the program performs. Again, in flowchart, by the word itself, we will be using a chart that contains a specific definition or specific functions of it. I will explain later on each symbols for each shape. Next, a graphic map. It is a graphic map of the path of control or data through the operations in a program or an information handling system. Next, symbols such as squares, diamonds, and ovals represent various operations. We will be using those shapes. Next, these symbols are connected by lines There should be a line, ha? Okay, kung walay line, of course, it is not called step-by-step procedure na good. And arrows to indicate the flow of data or control from one point to another. Actually, I'm very make sure lang na if you will create a flowchart, dapat, for example, this is your symbol. If this is your symbol, if you will try to create a line here going to the next shape, make sure that your arrow touches the next shape so that I will consider it. If it will not touch the next or the succeeding shape, I will not consider your answer. Okay? Okay, let's proceed. One moment. So these are the flowchart symbols. You will know more about this one. Okay. First, we have the terminal block. Okay. So this shape, one moment. After checking that one moment. Okay, after the terminal block, of course, we need to describe as well or discuss later on the process block. After the process block, the shape is a rectangle, right? Okay. Next, we also have the input and output block. This one. The fourth symbol or the fourth shape, we have decision block. For the word itself, of course, it will help you decide by using this symbol or shape. Next, initiation block. That's also important. Next, we also have the connector. And lastly, we have the flow lines, which is the most commonly and easiest way. Kung mag-exam pa ta, dili gid mo ma-zero because of this. Okay. So for these symbols, I will explain one by one.